Okay. So I want to make a so I want to make a video based off of what I think being socially rejected really means, and my perspective on it after being after like keeping to myself for a while, not making YouTube videos, but I spent a lot of time just reflecting and just kind of journalizing my thoughts. And what I think being a social reject really means, going beyond based off of these boxed in ways of thinking. Like the mainstream connotation is just to, work on yourself and just work on yourself or go to therapy. Those are like the main terms that people hear from like cliche terms of people who can't really relate. And then there's the black pill terminology that you're a social reject because of your looks, and that's it. People only gravitate towards people who are good looking. Well, I want to have like my perspective on it since I think my beliefs are a lot less stuck in those boxes of like everything is nihilistic, like if you're not a certain way that involves just genetic determinism, then you're just a social reject and you're just not really tolerated and pushed out by default. And that having good looks is the end all be all to having real social acceptance. Well, I have a different perspective on it. It doesn't really involve all this, I don't really have that nihilistic point of view about it, but rather I can also relate to not being part of any tribe, feeling like any group that you're in, you can't really connect with any other people because they don't resonate with your experiences, your type of personality and ways of looking at the world. Like I joined some like career groups that do share the same career passion that I love, which is transportation planning. But I don't really identify with the people there on a personal level to where I can say they're friends. So in a way, I can relate to loners who make black pill videos who say they don't really relate to other people, and they always feel kind of like the outsider. I get that, but it's not really determined on looks. It's more so determined on experiences, opportunities, interests, and personality types. I notice when I've actually talked to people and actually tried to connect with people, this is the conclusion that I've gotten. And when reflecting on myself, I occasionally feel kind of a bit of a depression about it. Not really, I mean, being by myself, I do feel depression, and I also do feel a sense of I do feel a sense of happiness and um, being alive and things that I enjoy, like connecting with nature and having hopes about my career goals. And I mean, it doesn't really sound like much, but to me, it's a way to keep me grounded and connect with the earth when I feel that everything around me is just kind of like distancing me away. So when I go on drives and I go on walks in places that are similar to where I grew up and places that I've um, been around from where I live, I feel that sense of connection and that grounding that I've always grown up to appreciate. And when I get older, I find it to be my escape haven. So that's how I stay grounded amongst a world that doesn't socially connect with someone like me. But I don't believe that it's all just a surface level thing. like not connecting with people has a lot more to do with just shared values and personalities and experiences. And the one friend group I have that I connect with down in LA, even though the distance is really far, when we meet, the connection feels as close as ever because we share the same general experiences. And even though they're younger than me, I'm 28, they have that young optimism that I still have, where we're both trying to find and establish ourselves. So even though the distance is far, they're the only people I feel that I can connect through experiences. So what gets me depressed is not so much a chemical imbalance, but more so just I know why I'm depressed. I'm not in a job that I really like that aligns with my passion, the purpose I want to fulfill. I'm not around people who understand and get where I'm coming from. They don't fit into boxes that people typically associate people in. They can understand what it's like to kind of not be in one box of personality. But they're not so much on the extreme side of do drugs or black pill fatalism. Although they do understand, the friends I do have in LA that I'm speaking of, they do have those, they do understand black pill fatalism to an extent, but they're not so much on the extreme end. And they're not really on the just generic cliche normie experienced guy end either. So I find myself to be someone that just straddles between multiple worlds of I can conversate with normies if there's something I'm passionate about, like in planning. I view them as normies because typically they have a personality that meshes with the rest of the group there that I could just put a finger on. Oh, he's this type of guy. I don't view people as normies that you can't really put them in a box on what type of guy you can say they are, and they don't seem to mesh with the rest of the people there. I mean, I guess you could say to the one group of friends I have, I'm not abnormal and different with them, but if you can do that easily with someone, and I view you as someone who's a normie, but if you can't, then no, I don't. Like if I'm looking at a third person view of myself, you can't put me in that category. But anyway, I just view being tribeless as something I think is I've seen some YouTubers make that is relatable, but I don't view it as like a surface level nihilistic thing. And I don't really blame myself for not being part of a tribe either, because I don't view myself as I need to fit in with other people. As I get older, I realize that I don't really want to conform to other people. I just want to be part of a group of people that get me and see where I'm coming from, and just find more of those people that I can. Be in a career that I'm passionate about. And then also just find a woman that I'm attracted to that feels and looks at the world the same way as me. Similar to how I see my ideal friends the one group of friends that I actually have. I want to see that the same in a woman. And I don't view that I need to conform into boxes or conform into standards with a woman for the sake of having friends and not being lonely, not having a girlfriend. How I view myself is that I want to be alone if it means that I need to conform into boxes of to be this type of guy for a girlfriend or to be this type of person to have friends. I would rather be alone than to conform into that. But I wish I had a place for my voice and my heart to land. And it doesn't seem like there's many places for that. And when you also kind of can understand multiple ideas of, you can kind of like just be in society. People aren't flat out rejecting you, but you can't really relate to them either. You can just, do your own thing and whatever, just blend into society as just kind of a solo character. I can also understand the kind of like nihilistic and just point out raw truth of, things are just out of your control, and genetic determinism does play a factor in relationships and can play a factor with friendships, but I just don't fully go to that side either. So I'm kind of in this island by myself where I'm not in any extreme ends. I think I could be understood by people. People can see where I'm coming from. I feel the same about my weed usage. Like my weed usage, I use cannabis tinctures every now and then, right? To find an escape from reality and just to find a way to feel good in my kind of mundane life, to give me a balance. But I don't relate to stoners who just use it all the time and just like, I remember when I used to smoke with people would just like, I would be like, what strain is this? Oh, I don't know, man, I just got it. Like it's like with stoners, I can't really relate to them because I don't view myself as someone who needs to use weed to escape. I use it to escape a little bit and then fill my life with everything else sober and work sober, because I actually appreciate life and do have things that make me feel happy and grounded. I don't view myself as chemically depressed trying to escape from something. I view myself as situationally depressed. And I use a vice like cannabis to escape just a little bit, but fill my life with other things too that always gave me fulfillment, like connecting with nature, away from other human beings, in an area, in an environment that's been here long before we came here. And that feeling that I have with nature is like something I felt since I was a kid. I remember just as a kid, when I see like mountains, I see mountains as like remembering a place of being around people when I was younger, family that I felt a genuine love with. You know what I mean? That I felt love from them and I loved being around them too at that age. So I associate mountains with a person. So when I see even a little bit of a feature of a mountain in a certain place, I associate that with that young memory. That gave me that perception of connecting with the earth as like a positive personal experience. And I use that throughout my life, as nature is like a positive personal experience from back then. But now it's more warped into, I associate nature with a good memory and a sense of belonging that's always going to be there, that I don't have to perform for, I don't have to fit in to be a part of. It's a way to help me connect with something where that, even though it's not a person, it's like my tribe. So I just view myself as, my perspective as not being in the mainstream, not being in the black pill, feeling a sense of like alienation in groups, in society. Not so much that I'm like having the most brutal negativity pushed onto me, but just not really relating, not really connecting, not really getting where people are coming from pretty much 99.99% of the time, except the one group of friends in LA that I've mentioned. But also not really conforming to a negative, nihilistic view either. I think being rejected from society is deeper than just surface level shit. I think surface level shit in general, thinking of things at a surface level, is for dumb people. Humans are complex. But a smart person can break down a complex thought, a complex perspective in a simple way to understand. Like I say, connecting with humans has more to do with um, experiences, interests, personality types. Um, at least for me, it's like the interests I have, the personality types we have, the experiences we have, and not being able to feel boxed in. Maybe on a surface level, you can box us in, but on a deeper level, you can't. That's how I view like my connection with people. I don't view it as just something that's just determinism is so simple. No, it's not. What I'm saying, it makes sense, but it takes a brain power and a deeper thought of a human being. So I just view myself after like a long time of being silent and not really saying anything because I don't know how I can relate to my audience. That my perspective is like not really in any video group that I've seen on this platform at all. So I'm realizing if I want to come back on YouTube, I got to make my own tribe, my own identity, and go from scratch. If there's people that feel the same way, I would like to really see. They could be out there lurking, not knowing where their voice is, where their heart could land. I hope um, people can relate to where I'm coming from. And I think my point could be heard for those that straddle between multiple worlds but don't feel included in any of them. And they want a voice. They want someone who gets it. They want someone who, could relate to being different, to the nihilism, but isn't part of that shit neither. You know, and just overall the perspective and where I'm coming from. Just being like our own tribe of men, but we don't fit in the ideology of what most YouTube platforms are doing. I hope my point came across. I hope I've said a lot that could resonate with people.